Today we're talking about Claude Code on the web and mobile with iOS. Now I'm a big fan of Claude Code. I use it in the CLI every single day. I think I pay for like one of the pro plans or the max plans, whatever they are. I cannot live without it. I love this experience. But there are times where you might want to reach for the Claude Code on the web or on the go using the iOS app. And I think this is coming to other platforms later on. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk through what Claude Code on the web and iOS is, when you might want to reach for it, and we'll take a look at some of the features and take a look at an example that I have. So again, big fan of Claude Code. If you're not using it in the CLI, especially with plan mode, my favorite thing to do, probably do some videos on that soon. But if you're interested, let me know below. So this blog post came out, Claude Code on the web. Today we're interested in Claude Code on the web, a new way to delegate coding tasks directly from your browser. You can run coding tasks in parallel. So this lets you kick off sessions without opening your terminal. You can go ahead and just describe your problem or give it a bug, let it run off and do it. It could take 5 minutes. It could take an hour, whatever it takes. You can run multiple parallel sessions in a row. So this is really where the question starts. Now, I use Claude Code for everything from the CLI. So I would be creating new applications still from the CLI because there's a lot of planning that goes on there. I go into plan mode, there's back and forth. We're kind of creating an application. For me, on the web and on the go with an iOS app, this is really meant for small tasks, things that can be done fairly quickly, right? And I guess not quickly, but without a lot of complexity, right? So I would use this a lot for, and you'll see when we get into it, is like you have to connect to a GitHub repo. So we have an existing project that we're not starting something from scratch. So I'd use this with an existing project where maybe I was on the go and someone asked me like, hey, I see there's a problem with your website. Or somebody submits an issue and we can go ahead and assign that issue to Claude Code and have that fix it, right? So those are the ways that I see it. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. If you're guys using it, let me know in the comments below. So flexible for every workflow, security first cloud execution. Every Claude Code task runs in an isolated sandbox environment with network and file system restrictions. This is good. Like we don't want it just kind of running wild, right? There's some getting started. There's some documentation. This is another good place to go. So it talks about sandboxing. There's a whole new feature on sandboxing, how it works. This is a really good read if you want to understand that. Then there's the documentation for Claude Code on the web. So again, this is something else you should go through. It is available to only pro users and max users. Here's how you can get started. We'll see an example of that in a minute. How it works, we can go ahead and do those. From web to terminal, there's also this really nice open-in CLI. So if I was on the web and I was fixing something and maybe something wasn't going right or I wanted to change something, you can pop right into a CLI. They call it teleport, I believe. I don't see it in here, but I thought I saw it referred to as teleporting. The cloud environment, you can always check available tools. So if you want to check tools, you can do that. You can, this command displays like the programming languages, available package managers, and then this goes into like all the specific setups. For Java developers, we're using OpenJDK with Maven and Gradle, and you can see like a whole bunch of environment configurations and all the things that you need to like learn about this, like what container registries it's pulling from, etc. So again, I think one of the pros for me is that like it's available right in my browser. It's available once we kick something off there and I have to run out of the house. I can see it on my mobile phone, on the iPhone or on iOS, and I can see the what it's going through. It's like thinking process. It's putting an agenda together. It's crossing them off, and so I can see that on the go while I'm heading out somewhere. But from a CLI perspective, like Claude Code CLI is so good. It has so many tools available to it. You can add MCP servers. You have / commands. You have skills. All these things that make Claude Code from the CLI really great. They're not all there in the web version. Now, maybe eventually some of them will make its way over there, but they are not now. As always, you can check out the changelog at Anthropic's GitHub account /Claude Code, and you can see what was added. This is always something good to go through. With that, let's take a look at what we're going to do today. So in the last video, I took a look at Google AI Studio's Vibe coding tool. I went in there and I played around with it and I created some screens for an application that I wanted to build called Content Vote. This is just some silly app for me that if I wanted to put a bunch of content out there and see what people were interested in next, I can have people vote on it. You give it kind of a vote, you get so many votes per day. If I were to click on this, I have 6 votes and I can go in and vote for some things. So what I want to do is I have uploaded this to GitHub. I want to go ahead and run a task on this and using Claude Code on the web, and then we'll see it on the mobile as well. So the first thing I want to fix is there's this idea of 6 votes. It's actually hard coded in there. A lot of this is not working yet, but it's a good example for this. So when you go in here, you can click on code on the left-hand side. It will take you over here. If you do it the first time, you'll have to configure a couple things, including connecting to GitHub. But I've already done that and I've connected to GitHub. You also define the environment. So by default, I'm using the default environment. But I can configure my own cloud environment here. I can give it a name, what the network access is. You can read more about those. And then I can set up environment variables here. So if I wanted to do something like Spring Profiles active equals Claude Code Web, that would work. I don't love this because we're hard coding values in here. If it's some kind of secret, then I got to hard code that in there. Don't love that. So maybe we could find a different way to address that issue. But I am on here, and what I want to do is give it a task. So this content vote, this number 6 is hard coded in the application somewhere, and I want to see if we can go ahead and address that. The number of votes that each user has per day is hard-coded as 6. Can we change this to a configuration value that can be changed in application.properties? All right, so we've asked that, and now we'll go ahead and kick this off. I love this animation here. It starts running. Yes, I want to enable notifications because if I go off somewhere, I want to be able to be notified when this is done. And so right away you could see, okay, it's taking on that task. Here are the ways to do that. Here's my to-dos. So I got to search for this. I got to add a configuration property, update code, test the configuration works, commit, and push changes. This is really good. So perfect. I found the hard-coded value. It's in user.java at line 15. Now I know where to start looking. Now I know how to go ahead and address this issue. So I want to see if we can go ahead and quickly move over to the iPhone so we can see this working there as well. All right, so here we are on mobile. So we could see this kind of doing the same thing. So again, I could see a world where I kicked off maybe a bunch of different tasks in parallel, and then maybe I was on the go, and maybe I didn't read them in real time, but as I'm on the go, I can go ahead and check this out and see what happened with each of these tasks that I've kind of assigned to it. So what it's going to do is once it kind of figures everything out, now it's committing and pushing changes. It's going ahead and commit them. It commits them to their own branch, which is what we want, right? We don't want these all on the main branch. We want each of these features in their own feature branch. So it's going to do that. It's going to commit it to it. And then we could see here's the new branch, Claude. So it creates a folder in there in the branches called Claude. And then there's one here for configure daily votes. And that is the branch. So when it's finished here, what we're going to do is open this up in the IDE, and we see that there is a configuration value. So I'm in the IDE now. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. We are on master right now. We want to go ahead and we want to fetch, which is going to pull down any of the branches. So if we look at remote, we have Claude, and then we can go into configure daily votes. So let's go ahead and check that out. So we should be able to go into our resources, our application.properties, and now we see an app.voting daily votes per user. Config, here's our voting config. It's nice that it went in and created a class, configuration properties for this, and not just stuck in a property in our application.properties. So we have a daily votes per user. This is the default value, it says. If we look at the properties, we can go ahead and change that to something like 10 if we wanted to. And let's go ahead and rerun this. And if we go back to our browser and go to localhost 8080, we'll go ahead and log in with GitHub, and we see that we have our 10 votes left. So as I said, I'm a really big fan of Claude Code from the CLI standpoint. I use it all the time. I love it. I can see bringing this into a web and a mobile workflow for certain situations like this. I'm not starting a brand new project from there, but if I want to go in there and kick off some processes, this is a great way to do so. I also can think of this as just like tinkering around, like for my own personal site. Maybe I wanted to, like, I had an idea for like a page I wanted to create. Just go off and do this, spend 10, 20 minutes, whatever you want to do, while I go do something else. So I'm a really big fan of this, huge fan of Claude. Love this feature, excited about this feature. Hopefully I can start using it more, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But I'd love to hear what you think. Are you a user or a fan of Claude Code? Are you using it on the web now? Are you using it on the go? I would be curious to hear your thoughts on that. But as always, friends, did you learn something new today? I hope you did, because I love making these videos, and I hope you learned something new. If you did, do me a big favor, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and as always, happy coding.